Hi everyone, so today we have some breaking news coming out of the 2020 presidential race. We can now officially say that former Vice President Joe Biden has entered the race. Joe Biden, this article is from the New York Times. Joe Biden announces 2020 run for president after months of hesitation. Former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr. announced Thursday that he would seek the Democratic nomination to challenge President Trump in 2020, casting the election as a national emergency and asking other Democrats to put the task of defeating Mr. Trump above all their other ambitions. In a 3.5-minute video that focused on whatever that word is, Mr. Trump, Mr. Biden presented himself as a steely leader for the country racked by political conflict. Unlike the wide field of Democrats competing for the affections of the left, Mr. Biden avoided almost any talk of policy or ideology, signaling that he believes voters will embrace him as a figure of stability and maturity, even in a partisan primary election. So that is the major breaking news. Joe Biden is running for president. Also, Seth Moulton announced recently that he would be seeking the Democratic nomination for president of the United States. But again, I wouldn't put much money on him to be able to win that Democratic nomination outright. So we're going to be going through a potential 2020 election prediction between Joseph R. Biden Jr., that's his official name, and Donald Trump. So I think it's Donald John Trump, Donald John Trump Jr., or it might be Donald James Trump. I don't know, but anyway, Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, all safe for the former vice president. As for Trump, Alaska, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, most of Nebraska except for that 2nd congressional district, Kansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and West Virginia. And then as for the former vice president, New Mexico moves into his safe column. Same thing with the state of Illinois. Vermont, Massachusetts also moves into his column, along with Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, the District of Columbia, and New York. So 125 electoral votes for Donald Trump, 187 for the former vice president. As for, let's just get Nebraska second out of the way. I don't believe that Joe Biden would be able to pick that one up at the end of the day. I believe he would come up a bit short in taking down Trump in the 2nd district of Nebraska. State of Texas, I believe that one would probably go narrowly into the Trump column. I say this because, again, even Beto O'Rourke not able to pull it off against Senator Ted Cruz. I don't believe that Biden would be able to pull off the state of Texas. Going into some of the other Democratic states, in the state of Virginia, this one moves into the likely Democratic column. Sorry about that. But Virginia, again, he mentioned in his opening ad, I watched his whole opening ad. Again, not much policy discussed, but he did discuss Charlottesville, Virginia instead. So I think he'd definitely be able to pick up the state of Virginia in that potential 2020 election scenario. So 200 electoral votes for the former Veep and 164 for Donald Trump, 174 electoral votes still up in the air. So as for the state of Maine, I see Maine at large moving into the likely column. The 1st district moves into the leaning column, but I don't think it would be enough to give Biden the edge in that 2nd congressional district. As for the state of New Hampshire, I believe that with his appeal, he would be able to win in the state of New Hampshire. So where do we stand now? 207 for Joe Biden, 165 for the President of the United States. In the state of Nevada, I see the state of Nevada moving into Biden's corner. The state of Colorado moves into the Joe Biden corner. I see those two states moving into the Biden column. As for the state of Arizona, though, I don't think it'll be enough to get Biden over the line, and I believe Trump would narrowly carry that. So now going into the South, we have Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. These states, I believe, could all narrowly move into the Trump column, with the exception of North Carolina. If Democrats had picked up at least one or two of those competitive districts in North Carolina in 2018, I would have given it over to Joe Biden. I really would have, because I thought that it would just be enough to get him over the line with the African American vote and with the Obama repeal. But at the end of the day, I just don't think that Democrats did well enough in 2018 for me to feel comfortable to move that into the Joe Biden column. So 236 for Donald Trump, 222 for the former vice president. Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Ohio are the remaining states. Here's the thing. Joe Biden has a Rust Belt appeal. I think it's real. I really think it's real. He has a Rust Belt appeal. And given that he's from Pennsylvania, I don't think it's much to discuss that he would win Pennsylvania. But I think that enough of that momentum would topple over into the states of Michigan, narrowly moving into the Biden column, and Wisconsin also narrowly moving into the Biden column. And you can expect, if those states are going, Minnesota probably also going to go. So Iowa and Ohio are the remaining states. I see Donald Trump narrowly taking both of these, just because, again, I don't think that Biden's Rust Belt appeal would be enough. And I think as people get to know him, get to remember about him, about what he was as the vice president, I think that it could get really close, and I think that Joe Biden could narrowly end up on top in the overall thing, but not in Iowa and Ohio. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Comment down your suggestions below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.